week. So we drained it last week so that TerraCare could clean it up this week and let it start to dry. Because between the stone and the concrete, it needs to dry thoroughly before we cover it for the winter. Tate is going to be here today to clean it. The 2022 annual order is pretty much done. We didn't submit it to Parks primarily because they don't have any place to order it yet. They were working with, I think, Gully, and like a lot of the big greenhouses, they're getting rid of their little customers and trying to concentrate on their big orders. And this is kind of a theme that's been happening now for a couple of years. Grow told me about it last year and the year before. They were having trouble getting flowers because their orders were too small. Now it's hit the city of Longmont and Parks. So we don't really have anywhere at the moment to order them for them to be pre-grown. So they're looking to see if they can find somebody, and if not, she doesn't really need the order till the spring. So we're just kind of sitting on it. It's pretty much done, just waiting for her to have a solution. I did put in a few new perennials in the garden. I noticed that there were some kind of empty spots along the driveway as we got into the August, September timeframe. And we're still having trouble with the roses on 3rd Avenue because of the water. So we replaced 4 of the roses on 3rd Avenue that were just never thrived. And we're gonna fix the water problem. And we put in 3 new hydrangeas and a deep purple butterfly bush into those holes along the east side of the driveway that just didn't have anything in them come fall.
So, quick question. Water problem. What kind of water problem?
We're having some issues with irrigation. It's an ongoing thing. We have an old sprinkler system.
Okay.
And every year there's something new. I mean, probably at some point Parks needs to do a capital project to actually come in here and completely redo it. But I don't think that's gonna happen until we're in crisis mode.
Right.
So we're just limping along. You know, and there's issues between Parks and the vendor about how it gets fixed and when it gets fixed and who's gonna do it and
all the fun. Okay.
Yeah, it's lots of fun.
Yeah. We don't want to get into it.
We're I think in the spring I'm actually gonna have Anna do some work on the rose bed. At least the part that's really having a problem, we're gonna try and pull the pop-up heads and just put in drip.
Okay.
So we'll see if we can manage that. If we can't, I might actually just hire a vendor to come take care of it. Because I'm really tired of being the punching bag in the middle of the Parks TerraCare.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah. Well, and we just need to fix it. And you know, Parks' concern is money, of course. And TerraCare's concern is like trying to do what they do.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
it look nice.
And Sam made a decision early in the year to just fix things instead of asking permission because she didn't want the flowers to all die. And now they're fighting over the bill. So it's a thing. We are continuing to replace our incandescent light bulbs with LEDs to save energy, but the other benefit to that is they don't pull as much energy. So on our old wiring, our circuits and stuff aren't getting as hot and we're not blowing circuits like we used to. So all of the bulbs in this room have been replaced. Now we're working on the overhead lights in the offices and on the porch. And then eventually I'm gonna have to bite the bullet on the dining room. But we haven't done that yet because it's gonna be a $500 adventure at least. And the clear light bulbs still don't have the same quality of light that you can get from the incandescents. They're getting better. They're getting better. So I noticed the overheads are much better this time. So maybe next year we can like replace all the ones in the dining room with LEDs. Events for October, we've already done a rehearsal and a wedding. And I'm so glad that one's over. It was one of those ever-moving targets. And then the rest of the month is clubs. I just wanted to reiterate that we had a great year, especially if you consider the short time frame that we did all the events in. I mean, typically we do events all through the year, and obviously we have slower months where we don't do as many. But these events and the time between when we executed one and the next one were very tight. And the other thing you have to realize is that all of the planning fell in that same time frame, with only a few exceptions. So we literally did things in weeks that we usually do in months or years. So it's been pretty crazy. And I looked at the revenues. As of now, we've had almost $52,000 in event revenue for 2021. And that is almost back to what we booked in 2019.
Wow.
And I think we're within $2,000 because the 2019 number has clubs in it. It has club dues, and of course we didn't have any club dues this year.
Right.
So we're within a couple $1,000s of being what we booked for 2019. It's awesome. On a financial budget consideration, I did do an appropriation for the next cycle. Since we were very conservative in our estimates of what we were gonna bring in revenue and also spend, we're running a little short. So did an appropriation out of the fund, which of course we'll put right back at the end of the year. But I have to do that because I can't spend money that I haven't appropriated. So, and that will be in the next cycle. We haven't had any cancellations. We had 4 drop-offs booked, and Karen Roney did a luncheon here. Those were all revenue generating events. That's an opportunity to bring stuff for events, so alcohol, food, clothing, guest books, that kind of stuff. So sometimes they do a drop-off, sometimes they do a drop-off and a rehearsal. It just depends, but we do charge for them. So they're revenue events. And usually on the smaller events like the memorials and stuff, they don't get booked until closer to the event. When we book a wedding, we book the rehearsal at the same time. But when we do a smaller event, sometimes we do a drop-off and sometimes we don't.
What's the average price for drop-off?
For a wedding, it's $200 because we book 2 hours. For the smaller events, it's usually about $100. And I usually book more time than they actually need because they're notoriously bad about showing up on time with everything they need. So they come back. They don't show up. Joan Wargo was on Pacific time and she was 1 hour and 15 minutes late. So I charged her 2 hours because I had somebody sitting here. It wasn't I had staff.
Right.
So I charged her for 2 hours because, somebody was sitting here just for her. So and we charge $100 an hour. If it's just a little bit of stuff, and especially with memorials, I do a half hour, which is $50. It just depends. We charge because otherwise people would probably not show up until hours later, and we'd be sitting here waiting for them.
Right.
I did order new business cards with the new City of Longmont logo. I did get an estimate for reprinting the history brochure from Minuteman, but I think I need to go get a couple more. I need to get the printer information from you that you guys are using.
You used them this last time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, they did. They
The look over here?
did a good job.
Okay, perfect. Good to know. I think there's a couple other city contracts though, so I may just get a couple other bids to make sure we're not spending too much. And then we also renewed the contract for advertising in the Wedding Wire for 12 months. Although the way they're doing it now, you can back out at any time.
Oh,
So
nice.
good to know. They started doing auto renewal, and but I circled with them because the prices, of course, went up just a little bit.
Right.
And but now we have the option of stopping it anytime we want to. As you can see on the expense revenue and actual sheet, or the event revenue and expense actual sheet, it pretty much looks like we're about $15,000 or $16,000 to the good at the moment. Munis hasn't completely caught up with that, but my numbers are pretty solid. I honestly expect October, November, December to be very quiet. With people back inside and masks and COVID, I'm kind of thinking we're going to be pretty quiet around here for the next quarter. I changed the event breakdown a little bit, which is the next sheet, so you can actually see the September numbers. So I just thought it printed out that way, and I went, oh, that's kind of interesting. Maybe they'd like to know that.
That is interesting.
So I will start printing it that way. It's an enormous spreadsheet because I do every month separately. But it is kind of interesting to see what the actual physical breakdown on a monthly basis is.
Yeah, it is.
And on the bottom, you can see Art Walk is broken out on its own. The next sheet is the event actuals. This is the 31 things we did during the month. It was pretty stinking crazy, like I said. Gives you a pretty good idea of what's going on. And a lot of memorials. And then when you take a look at the expenses, of course, when we do a lot of events, we have lots of expenses. One thing I did start doing for the memorials that I hadn't done in the past is we started doing centerpieces. And what this is from, the King Soopers does a great job. They cost us about $10 a piece, and I charged $20, so it's just another little cha-ching. And maybe they'll get a little more expensive, when we get a feel. But interestingly enough, everybody who had a memorial, at least a bigger one, especially with a recent death, was very interested in doing them as opposed to trying to take care of it themselves.
Yeah.
So it's just another way I can help, and it's another way that we can make a little bit of money.
Right. Do you need any more mason jars?
Oh, I would love a box
Yeah.
of mason jars. I can't even find them right now, but I want the little ones because we don't want to spend the money to do big ones.
And they have to be mason?
No, yeah.
That's a curve.
Actually, the first time I did it, King Soopers gave me the jars. She told me she throws them away all the time, but she doesn't usually keep them because she doesn't have very much storage.
Right.
So she said she would start trying to keep them until she ran out of room. But the second time I did it, we had used up all the jars the first time. So, and honestly, I couldn't find jars anywhere. Don't look for jars in August or September.
There's
Right.
a glass shortage.
After that,
Course there is.
Yeah.
Shortage.
Well, you know where I found them? I found them at Michael's for $2.50 a piece.
Oh.
Fortunately, I had 4 or 5 already,
Yes.
and I only had to buy like 5.
Ace
So,
did a bunch of- Ace doesn't have any?
Ace didn't have any, Target didn't have any,
Everybody's
Sam's didn't have any.
Yeah.
Michael's only had individuals,
That's
Hobby
crazy.
Lobby only had individuals,
No.
King Soopers didn't have any, Safeways didn't have any, Walmart, I
You
called
forgot to call us.
all over,
Yeah.
I was on a dead run.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is one that came up one week and we did it the next week.
Exactly. Yeah.
So-
that's
For
real
the narrow
work.
mount versus the wide mount?
I think so, I think so, the flowers stand out a little
Yeah,
better,
I hear
plus
that.
it costs a bit less flowers. And she did a beautiful job. I mean, I looked at her bouquets and I said, use that one. We paid for 2 bouquets and she charged me a little bit to arrange them and, $10 a piece and they were gorgeous.
Yeah.
So.
Do any of your clients ask if they could take it home?
Oh, they did. That's why we didn't have jars for the second one.
And I understand.
Yeah.
If I get somebody to open my crawl hole, you can.
Well, they pay for them,
Right.
so if they want to take them home, they can take them home.
Absolutely,
Right.
yeah. But I think all of us.
And what are you gonna do when it's a memorial? Say, oh no, you can't take those
Right,
flowers.
exactly. No.
They were theirs.
It's not like you're in a
Sure.
raffle, anybody on the wall.
No, not for a mason
No.
jar, no.
Well, and on one of them, they took a few, on the second one, they took them all,
Mhm.
But I mean, you took home flowers and you took home flowers from the one earlier in the month.
That's there to remind me to dig mine out from under the house to bring back.
You call somebody and tell them you're going under the house before you do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Please.
well, I can't lift the crawl hole, otherwise I'd be under their party, and I like it.
Oh, so you have to.
Well, it's all carpeted and there's
Almost.
Yeah.
So you have to have a friend to do it.
To open up the hole, and I've had a neighbor one time open up the hole, and I'm like, goodbye, and then here I was in the back, I'm just sorting all this stuff, and I'm like, what if I can't get out of here? Because everything was just surrounded, and I'm like, I need to take my phone with me, say,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
stuck.
a good plan.
Well, or call one of us and say, hey, I'm gonna go look at the crawl hole. You
Oh,
want to
you
make
would,
it?
yeah. Man, yeah, do you want to go under there and find all this good stuff? I have all these catering supplies too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure you do.
Yeah, the chafing dishes and all that kind of stuff that
cool.
help me. Yeah.
I bet if you listed them on Craigslist, some poor
Oh, yeah.
startup catering company would buy them from you in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be wonderful, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, moving on. I think
Yeah,
that
where are we?
Very good.
a lot of rentals, a lot of our regular advertising, my cards. The financials, the Munis financials are behind my spreadsheet, not by a ton, but a little bit. The stuff that goes through Rec Track doesn't usually hit very quickly. So, if you have any questions, that's why this report's a little different. That's all I got. Unless anybody has questions.
So we didn't use any of the Callahan House funds,
I'm sorry, we didn't,
use any of the Callahan House fund, we haven't used that.
no, we haven't touched it. We're ahead. We only touch the fund when we're short. So when revenues exceed expenses, we don't touch the fund. We touched the fund last year for the first time in 7 or 8 years, maybe 9.
Wow,
We haven't touched the fund.
that's a good track record.
Yeah, we haven't touched the fund in quite a while. We touched it when we bought the sign, but that's what the money is for.
Okay, so, I guess we just need, you submitted your report. All right, moving right along to, old business art walk. And,
Somebody want to talk about Art Walk in Ann's absence, or shall I?
well, my
It was very good.
It was
my first
successful.
comment was, it was amazing on how many new people were in here that had never seen the house. I thought this was
Yes.
I would say probably 70%.
That's all we
Yeah,
have.
when I
No
was
problem.
So, go ahead.
Oh, I thought it was great. To actually open the house and have 400 people come through, although I gotta tell you, my head was spinning. It was
Oh, yeah.
whoa. I literally ran the whole time, just
Yeah, you
constantly checking, since I was the only one here, employed by the house, I was, constantly checking upstairs, downstairs, outside, the musicians, just to make sure that A, we didn't have people in the attic, B, we didn't have people in the basement, C, we didn't have, a road jam somewhere, the video didn't quit, or, so I think I did 20,000 steps that day.
I bet you
We're
did.
suffering very much here in there.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
And I swore that you guys are just funneling them up the steps when they came through the front door. I know you weren't, because you're trying to get it all over the place, but it's just constant people coming up.
And then what, we had a couple of sneakers in with drinks that came in the side door that we didn't catch right away, but,
But then
It
Ann
happens.
went out
Yeah,
there and
it's
did that
done.
door,
yeah,
and then,
and we coordinated, as soon as we
Yeah.
We've actually had people try to come in with alcohol.
We need a
oh,
second clicker, and we need to put somebody down at this other door that they come through. So that they can be clicking there and we can be clicking in front.
We were
Right,
clicking
I'll
in
get
our
that.
brains.
Because
Done.
That's what we were
I also think
doing.
that we
Yeah.
might have missed some numbers because
Yeah.
we didn't have.
I think we also counted some people twice though,
That
because
could
they
be.
came in
Yeah.
both doors.
Yeah.
They
Right.
came in this door, went out that door,
Came
came back in this
Came
door.
back in, right.
yeah, cause you know what I'm saying, have you been clicked already?
Yeah. I didn't ask them that.
I thought we're pretty accurate.
I think we did fine.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a guess in my belly. I mean,
Yeah,
we do an event, I go out and go, and I try to
Uh-huh.
count, but they all move.
right.
Yeah. Darn,
I
man.
think
And I
it was
honestly-
helpful to have the second person over at the
It was.
door, so I think
Yes.
that is definitely good to go forward.
And we
Yeah,
might
absolutely.
have people that are just go in the garden and don't even come in the house, we don't know.
They were enjoying the music.
Enjoying the
They
music,
just
yeah,
were
'cause that was
sitting there
fun.
so casually.
Yeah. Doug's great. He not only comes with a guitar, he comes with an audience.
He does, yes. His neighbors all show up.
There was a
It's
little
great.
girl that decided to draw a picture of him, she was so proud.
Oh, that's so sweet.
He laughed. I gave it to him.
Oh, you
And they,
did?
oh yeah, I took him over to him. I said, "You have a fan?" And I gave him a note, and they laughed. So
He is very, very good.
He is very good.
What is his name?
Doug Brunson,
Brinson.
Brunson, Brunson. Yeah, he. All I do is call him and say, "Hey, you want to play for the art walk?" He goes, "Sure."
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He is, he's awesome.
They told me they play in the garage every Friday night. I said,
Yeah,
"You're
they
gonna have
do.
to tell me where your garage is."
Yeah, that's the neighbors that show up, the ones that listen to them practice. They
Yeah,
was great.
I told him, "You're gonna have to tell me where the garage is at, so I can come on
Yeah,
Friday night."
exactly.
So, all good.
Well, and I think the artists were all happy. We kind of had a wide range.
Good.
And I think the gentleman in the back room, he'd never shown his art before.
Right,
So that was kind of fun.
and he was really enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of new
Bagwell?
here anyway. Bagwell.
I don't remember his name. Honestly, I just was flying around.
Yeah,
And took care of all the artist interactions.
But they were newcomers to Longmont.
Were they?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, I think Jacqueline saw him outside his house with an easel set up painting.
House painting.
And that's how we found it, house painting. So,
House.
yeah. I did find another artist, so I'll mention that to Ann when.
Great. I did have a couple of comments in this, there was a couple of requests about pictures of the Callahan House. And maybe at the next art walk, you could just put a couple of, I know you said you had some,
I do.
but I wasn't aware of that. And, which is my fault, I wasn't aware of that.
We can set up a little display with prices.
Hey, we're not out anything to do it.
Yeah,
just
it's
in a
easy.
small area.
We're just gonna have somebody watch them so they don't walk.
Yeah, sure. I think that's possible if we can do that at the next art walk.
So you have some of these prints available to purchase.
I have the ones that I've been giving to you guys. I have 6 or 7. So I have spring, summer, fall, and winter. And then I have a combo picture with all 4. And then I have the 2 black and white ones, the pen and ink ones.
Those are available to sell then.
Yeah.
It just means we have to keep more inventory, so I'll have to think through that a little bit.
Okay, I know there was a couple of requests and I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't able to ask you until after the people had vanished. And so keeping in mind, I just thought it would be a good opportunity, even if we just sold 3 or 4, that would be nice.
Kathy probably got one of those girls, remember the one that came up and asked me, and then she came.
I talked to her, yeah.
She talked to her.
She talked to everybody. She was the one with the virtual tour for Pooter history. I've got the cards on my desk, yeah.
Yeah,
for
it's work on, yeah.
So yeah, I owe her, because she did want one, and I've got a note on my desk to call her when I have one. I have to get some printed.
And that wasn't, actually, she wasn't the one I was thinking of, so that was putting that out there, so. Okay, are there any other comments and speak about Art Walk before in old business?
Do we have dates for next year already, or? No, they said they were gonna be the same, but they've changed every year, so I don't have much faith in that.
Right.
So I'm waiting for them to announce their dates. And I've been kind of on her, I think the September date will still be the 2nd Saturday, which next year, I don't even remember. I looked at it, I kind of got them penciled in on my 2022 calendar, the 10th of September, I think. But it's still a little unclear if they're ever gonna go back to doing the May art walk. Or if it's always gonna be this, Saturdays, downtown thing. So, we'll just kind of watch that and see what happens.
Who's the one that's named, I can't.
It's Elaine Waterman.
Sarah and I went downtown afterwards. OMG, did anybody go downtown?
I didn't.
There were so many people.
It's so
So many
exciting.
vendors, it was just awesome.
I like
That's
that.
fab.
I just
So
like the
excited.
feel of that.
That head in the
Cute little
party.
town. We're big, but we're small.
Yes.
My husband went downtown and he came back and he told me the next day, you had the best art and the best music of anywhere.
Oh.
I'm not sure how much that weighs, but he
Yeah.
he was
I'm not
impressed.
prejudiced.
That's very nice.
Wonderful comment, so that's great to know. All right, moving on then with, new business. The room by room self-guided tour.
Ladies are working on one, speak about that.
We've been we got together and really went through it, and what we are focusing on, just so you all know, is identifying the dates of things more, or what's original to the house, what came in the addition, just because those are questions that are really keep on top of people's minds as they're coming through. Was this part of the original house?
They ask a lot.
And
What
so
do you guys
we're including that in the room floor to identify in this room, this is original in the house. And in this room, this west part of it was the original part of the house, the east part is the addition. And then the fixtures and the furniture, what was Callahan's, what and when, the kinds of details. always speak to people's minds, and then we
Yeah.
sit there going, oh goodness. And we have to scratch our heads in the middle of art walk or open house. And so, just going through and really filling in those little details is what we're focused on. And then also incorporating the importance of preservation and restoration for historical properties. Because that educational component is important to have included in conclusion and in part of our tour. So that people understand and why
It's hard.
keeping
They
it up
don't
is
realize how hard
incredibly
it
important
is.
and that it is costly and that donations are accepted, and things like that. And that History Colorado has been wonderful in helping with those restoration and preservation projects.
Exactly, do we state how and where to donate? Because that's one of the big things that.
It can be included in that final portion of, donations are always accepted, and, maybe by, making this.
Well, I think if we let them know where they can donate, I think
Yeah,
it's possible. And even if it's only $20 here and there, it does all add up.
Oh, yes.
So,
The only thing county.
and then there's the other comment. I know that I got cornered, and I passed them on to Kathy, the gentleman that really went off about the wood, working whether it was original to the house or not, so I appreciate the details. That would be.
So it's definitely coming along, and so, and now that you're back, yeah,
We can meet again.
we can begin, yes, so, but I think it's going to be a much better guided tour, with all this additional.
And something I suppose that we could read before we
Oh, yes.
go to our.
Yes, the objective is this, we put it together in what we think is a final draft, and then we provide it to all the board members, and we want you to read through and make sure you don't have any questions, or something doesn't happen, oh, did we talk to this, did we speak about that, address that, so that we can really have a comprehensive covering of the content.
And it's not just the house, it's the family too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
It's
I
the
just think that's so important.
It's
So
so important in that piece.
I was just lucky to have to visit her office a lot, do all this work, and I said, Kathy, may I ask you a question?
I couldn't type fast enough, but people came to see me in my office.
A lot.
I answered lots of questions.
They were
Yeah.
really questioning,
Very inquisitive.
very inquisitive people.
And the
on
ones I couldn't
Longmont.
answer, like,
Yeah, this is always
Yeah, I
happening.
didn't expect 400 people, honestly. I mean, I think I had 150 printouts, and we went through those in the first 45 minutes. It was like, whoa.
and I wanted to take them home and read it.
Yes.
So then they can bring it back. One of the things is they did say, so they did ask if there was a virtual something so they could go back to the rooms. And I'm like,
There is
there is, but
there are some pictures available, plus the room by room tour guide tour. The documentary is posted on the website.
Yeah.
And there's a room by room tour as a part of the documentary.
Which we'll include in the detail, in the little clip about the house. Not only is the documentary available online, but we also have the Rosalind's book available for sale, which is also another thing to include along with
that would be amazing.
to allow
I already made it
people
up.
to purchase those at the open houses. So we just need to go ahead and make sure we have those available.
Yeah, I think the more information we can include along those lines, it's an opportunity.
Yes. And so by the time this is revised, every board member will know every answer to any kind of quirky question that anyone has probably posed, and we'll all be really well prepared to answer questions or
There's
help
gonna
to
be a
point
quiz.
out,
There'll
or
be a
help
quiz.
to point out where it is in the guide.
There, this is
Because
it.
you're like, oh, here it is, right here in the
Remember all
guide.
that?
And so, I mean, you don't have to memorize things, but if you do remember how to reference it in the guide, then you're covered.
I'm just waiting for the pop quiz there.
No, we're not doing
Right.
that. We're not cruel. It's a lot of history. But just knowing, being able to read through it is gonna be very enlightening, very informative, and then also just helpful to prepare everyone for the next open house, so that you have a point of reference. Oh, yeah, there's an Innsbruck property. Let me show you where that is.
So are we looking at having it ready for the Christmas open house?
Yes, that would be the plan, so have it to be able to review for the November, the November, is the goal.
Okay.
And it's going to include a floor plan too, which makes it easy for people to look at, okay, I'm on the first level. Here's what the rooms are on the first level, and then you go through each room description and the details.
Ladies, thank you for your work on that. That's
They did.
Wonderful, wonderful
I keep thinking
teammates, I mean,
I kept
should
it
be a
Karen,
booklet or something.
Connie, without a doubt, it is just a pleasure.
What do I know?
It's so much fun.
These guys are
And
amazing.
that's what we're hoping to, is maybe even change it from just the page format that you have to just crank out all the time, which is easy, but even make it into a booklet.
That's a lot more work.
It's a lot more work.
That's a
There's
lot
a
more work.
possibility, if you guys would be interested, when you have your completed information, I could, we work with a graphic designer who does the recreation brochures, and they do other one-offs for us. And I don't know that it would be, he's generally under $200 to transform it into a beautiful finished product, but he would give a price. And then you'd at least be able to see what it might be.
Yes.
Well, that's pretty nice. That would be a good thing.
Yeah. It's been timely too. We've probably needed to do that for
Oh, wow.
10 years.
Wow.
Since I did one.
That was so good.
So do we have a date for the open house for Christmas?
We do.
Okay, well, actually, we're gonna move right on to B, then to the Christmas open house.
Well, that's scheduled for the first Friday in December. So it's the third.
Third?
Yes, I believe it's the third, and I guess my concern at the moment is I think in the current format, it doesn't fly very well. I don't see without vaccinations for little kids that people are gonna be very happy putting their children on Santa's lap.
That's a good point.
Right after 20 other kids. And right, so I'm a little concerned about whether or not in its current format that works.
Well,
Or if we should just change it to a Christmas open house without the Santa component. Or with a different way of doing Santa, if anybody has some ideas. As opposed to this expectation that every one of the kids that comes is gonna sit on Santa's lap and so I'm really open to suggestions.
Yeah.
But there's still, you still touch things. I've seen the caution that my kids have with their kids at the moment with no vaccines.
Right.
And the prediction that they're not even gonna have approval for vaccines for kids until November, or maybe early November, but not till at least November. And I'm just wondering if it makes sense.
Even our table set up with.
Yep, crayons and markers and,
Well, that's all just.
what if we just had an open house and showed off the tree decorations and everything?
Might be forced to do that.
I think it's something nice to have down here, and I think it can be pulled off with a bit of a distance, no lap sitting probably, but more of a standby. Stand by and take a picture, stand and just talk for a moment, and then move along. So I think it's doable, and kids obviously are, preschool age even, are gathering together in groups with masks. And it's okay to have that, and then if you're taking a quick picture, you can take the mask off just quickly and just take a photo and then move on.
I need to
It's
check in
doable.
with Santa and make sure Santa's okay with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have a discussion first before we,
It's
approached him.
That's
doable.
right, yes, you'll get the most of it, the blunt of it, you got a whole bunch of kids. so.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I believe it's 4 to 8. It's the same day as our lunch.
I think it's doable,
So it's a full day of Callahan House.
Right.
Does Any other thoughts? Concerns?
I'm with you, Kathy, I'm concerned that the Santa aspect just might not fly.
Do you know why I think it's probably not doable? Because you're gonna have all these people come with kids and you can't do a 6-foot thing.
We aren't gonna be able to social distance.
That's
No.
it, it'll be
No.
really.
And if the weather's bad, there won't be any place to do it in the garden. So I'm just,
That's right.
I'm pretty okay with it, I'm just not sure how okay the people with kids are gonna be.
I think that that's just a parent's
Personal
choice.
choice.
And, yeah, I mean, we just put through 400 plus people in this house
Yeah.
in our walk. And yes, there were kids there. And so I think this is doable. I don't want us to just shut the door on this and say, no. I think modified in a way, yes, but doable, definitely.
We talked to Santa about what he thinks he'd like to do.
Maybe they'll allow
I think
Yeah,
Santa, where Santa said is a big Q, and I
Agreed.
also hear where parents come from. People want to go out and do things. And
They do.
Like I said, it was a great experience for me just going to the ballet, and people were great about it. Wearing the masks, and again, we aren't requiring people to show their vaccination cards or anything else that come in the door. It's just we asked politely to wear the mask. It wasn't a big deal. They came in the door. You know, it's just, I hear your point on the fact of kids not being vaccinated. That's,
I also think we have to think about how many people we allow upstairs at a time, and so I think we need to modify that a little bit, and
Which we can modify.
Yeah.
But I think to just kind of shut that off for families and children, I don't want to take that approach.
I don't either, I'm just
really do think
concerned.
it's gonna be a family choice and what they're doing in the holidays, and if they choose to come, they know that it will be a little bit more limited, and I'm sure everybody is going to be fine with that. And some people will just be, they just have young children, and just get pictures. This is, they've had too much unrest and disrupted in their lives to take this to. So I want to allow it, I want to have it available in a modified way so that we're not taking Christmas away. I think it's just lame to just up and say, nope, we can't do it anymore because COVID's around. COVID's going to stay around. We need to learn to modify and live with that.
okay, so how and where do we normally place Santa? Because
Right
just right
here.
here in the.
He would
Yeah,
have to have a
do
barrier,
Santa.
some pretty little thing around him, so those.
We can just use stanchions,
Right.
We
but
can
we'll figure it out.
So what if we have
Speak with him.
reservations?
I was thinking the same
All I
thing.
can think of is
Excellent
last
idea.
year,
Excellent. That's
and
good.
the huge number of people that were downstairs. There's no way we can do a tour.
No,
There's no way people can
no.
meander around and look at things, because there's so many people just packed in. What if we did a reservation kind of thing? We may not get as many people,
By the hour.
Exactly, I love that idea. Yes.
Then we have more control.
Yes.
you bet. And they would feel.
We're still gonna have people show up without reservations.
Oh,
well,
sure.
So
We'll
Okay,
always
we can
get
just-
that.
how
Yeah.
hard is that to do, Sue?
Thank you.
Oh.
I like that.
Can they do their own reservations? They're gonna have to call and ask somebody to do them?
Well, we were very practiced, from recreation in 2020. They're very good. The ice pavilion is reservation this year, it's really good. So they can do it online, they can do it at a recreation site, they can do it over the phone, they can do it in person. So,
Great.
I mean, those options are all there. As a link, it's pretty easy, on the site. And if you did email or, that, we would give you the pass-through link, so all you do is click that.
Great, that's
To go
perfect.
right
And
to
I think most people prefer to have it, and particularly with kids, have a set time on what they're coming in.
Right.
They have it scheduled within their family and they do it.
I think they'll
Great.
appreciate that. I
So
love the idea of candy.
Because they were disgruntled people.
They were very, yeah, because that's a very long way, because it was a big event.
First come, first served.
And it was a first come, first served. So I love that idea, thank
So,
you.
and
And
then
that
the
is
details
also
are-
that it's
yeah,
doable.
so I just need the time frames, the
Not
elderly
half
and advance would
hour.
allow the reservations to occur.
And how many can go in one time slot?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so with those details, creating that can be done pretty darn quickly, so.
Perfect.
So is that a go?
And you guys are pretty well set on how many people can fit in that, in certain timeframes, correct? With
You
your
know, that
practice
would,
things?
that would,
That's hard.
that's
That's the
unique
part
to
that's gonna
you
be hard.
guys and to
Yeah.
your
Okay.
experience.
Yeah.
That's the part that's gonna be hard.
Okay.
He may
We
not
can
be
talk through
as
it.
talkative as the other one, but don't we have a new Santa?
We do.
That he
I think he'll
probably-
actually be quicker.
I-
That's my, but I don't know how much quicker and with a different format, I think our feel for how many people. I mean, I have all the numbers for how many people we put through here in the past. But I think it's gonna be a little different.
It's gonna
So
be
I need
different.
to, I need to put some thought into it.
And particularly if he is, if they're not sitting on his laptop, he's conversing as
Yeah.
much.
We can
That
come up
way
with
it's
something
just
that
like,
we know is
go and stand with Santa.
Well, we need to figure it out pretty quick.
Yeah, we
We're
do.
already in the middle of
Right.
October.
Right.
Right.
And my guess is by the 1st of November, we have to have the reservation system up.
For recreation, it's a 2-week window, so it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, from the event.
Okay, so by the end of November, for sure.
Yeah, we have to get the work
We have
done
to
pretty
set up
quick.
before that.
Yeah.
And include that in the advertisement too.
Well, a lot of the advertising is already gone or not gone. So we did not put it in City Line because we thought there was at least a chance it wasn't gonna fly. And we didn't want to advertise something that might not happen. But I'll work with Rochelle and we'll figure out how to get it up on Facebook and the reservation system. And first we gotta figure out the reservation system and then we'll figure out how to advertise it.
Well, I think the big thing is first we gotta make sure we got a Santa.
Oh, we have
Oh, we
Santa.
do.
And he's willing to work.
Well,
with
yeah,
us.
if
I-
he's willing to work in the
He's on my list.
circumstances, yes.
Okay, so
And he'll be able to tell us, kind of give us ideas. Right.
hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully. I mean, I haven't talked to him yet about our setup because he was on vacation and then I was on vacation. So he's ahead of my list.
So what?
We're just letting them know that it's not a lap session kind of thing, but rather a
Oh.
quick visit and photo.
We'll see what he's
And
comfortable with.
See what he thinks about that, and also just kind of bounce off of him. How much time do you think it would take to, per child, for example?
Well, and the
And
other,
that might help us.
the reservation
get better
system,
On how many to allow for reservations.
yeah, the other difficulty with the reservation system is people come in families. So that's gonna be,
But
that's
in the
we
reservation
have to think
system,
how
you
to
can
do that.
say, yeah,
Like
Yeah.
half-hour time,
Yeah.
or something.
and so we can be
Can I
specific.
ask real quick if we could just say, if you could tell me when the holiday decorating will be, I'm late for work. So I need to just.
We're deciding, I'll send you a note.
Okay, please do.
What's your availability?
I like during the day.
Well, of course.
Any
But-
day not good for you, any day of the week.
Wednesday. like
Wednesdays are
now.
not good,
Yeah, for sure.
Janet.
Yeah.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Janet.
Welcome.
Have a good one. Go with the line.
I will.
Okay. All right, so we'll sit down, anybody wanna sit down with me next week? Have a meeting about the open house and just kind of,
I'm happy to help.
We did it early in the week, maybe the Wednesday.
I'm not available Monday.
I can't do that.
actually next week is bad for me. How about later this week?
I can't do Friday.
I can't do Thursday.
Oh.
Monday's
You're
bad.
busy.
I have jury duty. So I won't know until Monday night if I actually have jury duty or not. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm gone. So,
In the
we
following.
have fun. The 25th maybe?
What do you, I will be back on the 27th. I'll be gone from the 20th to the 27th.
I hate to put it off too long because,
It's because it's so close.
well, because we need to get it up.
We'll meet tomorrow. When did you put your meeting?
I can meet tomorrow morning, Kent.
Right.
That's what I heard.
Thursday morning?
Not in the morning, but in the afternoon.
So what time tomorrow?
At any time after 1.
2 o'clock?
Sure.
14.
Okay, who wants to be included?
I'll try to do that.
How are you gonna do that?
Karen, Maureen, and Connie. All right, we'll work on it tomorrow. And I'll dig out the numbers this afternoon. I think that's gonna be the trickiest part, is trying to figure out how to set up the reservations so that we don't end up either empty or mobbed.
It's doable.
Sorry, I didn't
It's
mute my phone.
doable.
All right,
Did you say it?
yes, 2 o'clock tomorrow. All right, so,
One idea is you could be fairly conservative to say the ability for your drop-ins, to say, I don't have an opening now, but in 20 minutes, we can put you down for that spot. So that you had some flexibility in the moment
I
To
was thinking the
either-
exact same
to
thing.
either accept somebody or say, I am sorry, we are booked out.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I'm thinking the exact same thing. This is doable.
So, thank you.
all right, so the next question is when we're gonna decorate. We usually decorate the week before Thanksgiving. We could do Monday. Tuesday doesn't work, Wednesday, we could do Monday, we could do Thursday, we could do Friday.
Which days are you looking at? I'm sorry.
The week before Thanksgiving, so November 15th, 17th, or November 15th, 18th, and 19th.
Could we do the 19th? And,
That would work for me. I just try to pick a day when we don't have anything going on in the house. Now, honestly,
I can have an extra set of hands, is what.
oh, bring Chloe?
Uh-huh,
Cool.
because I know she would love to help.
So what days did you say?
11/19, on Friday of the 19th. Does that work?
Do any of those days?
Yeah, I can do it.
Friday the 19th.
9 o'clock?
19th, 9 o'clock.
I'll send an invitation. Does that work for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's, it usually takes all morning, and then if you want to, we can go to lunch. And we'll try to preset trees to expedite things.
So from 9 to noon.
Yeah, 9 to noon-ish. Candy, do you want to own the library tree?
Sure.
Do you want to do something different, or just use what we have? Candy always likes to do themes. That's what you're the,
Library.
I mean, you gave us a lot of those instruments and stuff, so you could do the instrument thing again. But if you have something different, you know, you're always the one that wants to like switch it up.
Got a lot of experience.
So we do a tree in the foyer. We have like a 9-foot tree in the foyer. We do a small kind of pink tree in the parlor. Then we have a fruit tree in the music room. And then we have, it's been kind of a red and green and white tree in the library, but Candy's done some different things with that. She brought us instruments, and I don't think we've used those yet. Well, we used part of them.
We took them
We
off
used
of
part of
last
them.
year, so they
Yeah,
are
we
there.
didn't decorate last year, so.
I mean, the year
this
before.
The year before, I helped take down, but I didn't.
Yeah. And then, in the dining room, we have little trees that go up on the teacup shelf and a couple of Christmas cups. And then in the bride's room, we have a tree. In this room, we have kind of a peach and off-white tree. And then we probably don't need to decorate the yellow house this year because nobody's meeting in there. So I think we can pass on that.
Are we gonna have to change the decorations a little bit in here if we're planning on having Santa in that space?
Well, I'll figure that out. You know, we have lots of space in this room, so we'll figure it out. it's just, it's nice to have a tree behind it, yeah, for the pictures. So, and I haven't talked to him, I'm sure he's got a chair, but I need to figure out the logistics with him of what he wants.
Right. And so you just do a different thing for your window, is that?
We don't really come up with a thing.
No, it's, you've been kind of
She's just being
switching it up. She just has lots of decorations.
Nice.
She kind of switches it up some.
What else I can get rid of this year?
I knew that.
Let's be honest.
What can I come in and
Flowers,
out?
wilder tree,
Alright.
different flower tree. I do have a children's literature tree as far as, Alice in Wonderland, just ornaments and things that are from different children's books.
That's kind of fun.
That would be
That's
fun.
another thing.
And that might be good up here.
That would be good with
Might be
Santa.
another thought.
I don't know that it's a whole,
Santa read them a book or.
What was it, Connie?
storybook characters, Wizard of Oz, Pooh.
We did one at
Madeline, all of that.
Golden Books.
I'm sure with their.
It was fun to tuck the books into the tree
Oh.
and toys and stuff like that.
That would be great to have up here. I
It
think
would
that'd be wonderful to have as a backdrop for Santa.
Well, I
Yeah.
could bring all those things, Chris can grab it, and I've got Barnum's Wilder stuff too.
Great.
I've got a little tree for that. but,
Wow. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
How would you feel about a Tiffany tree?
Oh, how
Decorated
nice.
Tiffany boxes and.
Oh,
The bride's room would be great
Oh,
for
that
that.
would be beautiful.
yes,
That would be
right?
Pretty in there.
Bride's room?
Great idea.
That's a wonderful idea.
Or is it getting too, is that too commercial?
Well, we do have a Tiffany lamp downstairs.
How
So
big-
it's
That's a good point.
you know,
How Victorian is it, is kind of my question.
It's a bride's
How Victorian. And the tree that people see the least is the bride's room tree.
Ah.
I mean, the bride's room is more about having lights in the window for outside.
Yes.
Well, I
That
thought
room's
room's put in the
swag.
library.
That room doesn't, well, that might be kind of fun.
I
I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking of the library.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, that front door tree is huge. You have to have a lot of decor for it. I kind of like the muted Victorian mauves and golds and rust, so that when you walk in, it still fits the house.
Right.
So that's kind of been the thrust,
Sound
It's a
important.
good
You know, with-
traditional
Yeah.
tree.
Yeah.
Tree.
Right.
and it's huge.
Donna and I had fun with that.
Yeah. All right, well, think about it, let me know what you think. I just show up with stuff. And I'll show up with food and drinks.
Okay.
Although you have to promise to eat them.
Okay.
Like the,
I'm good at that.
2 bites of a pastry thing doesn't fly when you're waiting for the Callahan House.
Energy.
Yeah.
20 before you get here.
Yep. All right.
So still on the holiday decorations, because we took stuff down, right?
Right.
Here. Some of the decorations were getting a little tattered, you said. Are we gonna have to consider replacing anything this year?
Let's not do anything for this year, but let's think about it when we take them down.
Okay, so just take note on the stuff, because I did know you had said something when we were putting stuff down there.
We're slowly getting rid of the really old stuff, so that's, and Jacqueline's like an artist at getting rid of stuff that we A, don't use, or B, is broken or tattered. So let's just kind of keep in the back of our heads that we might have to think about supplementing or adding.
That's all.
And it's always nice to do that like right after Christmas, but honestly, it is very hard to find things that are appropriate.
Okay.
So if you find something and you think it's great, give me a call, I'll go scout it out. But most of the decorations that are out there right now are just too plasticky and too modern, and
Right.
so that's the real issue, is how we find things to replace them with that are appropriate.
And on the note of the kids' books, I have some really great hand-blown glass, ones of Peter Pan and stuff like that.
If you
That's
treasure them, I would
perfect,
bring
because
them.
that's a time.
Yeah,
of
you
this
treasure
year.
Yeah, if
Right.
you treasure them, I wouldn't bring them.
You won't bring them?
Not with
I
hundreds of
love
kids
glass.
up here.
No.
I have a bunch of felt, like, 3 rabbits, Peter Rabbit.
Yeah.
They lost their mittens, the kittens that
Oh,
lost
the
their
three
Yes.
little ones? Oh, that's good.
They're
That-
felt.
That's what I was thinking too.
More like felt?
And I do have, a lot. I do have balls, you know, the glass balls, but I also have ceramic ones, you know, for characters and things like that. So we can just, if you want to. I don't know how we're gonna tag who's, you know, right there.
Well, and we do have 7 trees to do, so it's, I think it's great to have a fancy one, but we still have to decorate the other 6.
Okay,
So,
I just don't know what all the other 6 are.
Just bring your stuff.
well, like I said, the one in the foyer is kind of muted reds, golds, rusts, greens, with some kind of fruity ribbon. The one in the parlor is kind of a pink theme because the room is pink.
Yes.
And those are probably the least Victorian things we have. The tree in the music room is fruit, so pears and apples and grapes and with bows. And then we've been doing kind of a red and green and white in the library with music, a music theme. And you're gonna work on that
was really
one.
popular.
It was pretty, it's
really like-
gorgeous.
Because there were violins and
It's
saxophones and
Yeah.
all kinds of music.
It's really, and it's pretty, it fits in that room.
It is pretty.
And then, the bride's room is just kind of a, white theme. And then in here, it's white and kind of peach and gold. So this would be a complete change up, which is perfect.
Right, I like
I
that.
think
perfect.
Tiffany would still.
I do too.
Okay.
I do too.
I think you should bring Tiffany.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I've seen it. It's
Tiffany's in the
lovely.
bathroom. I'm, yes, it is definitely appropriate.
Might even bring Sarah along on this one.
I think Sarah,
She's the Tiffany
she is
decorator.
the Tiffany queen.
Well, and you know, probably the most tattered decor we have is the stuff we put in the dining room, which are those little trees with kind of mauve ribbons. So we might be thinking about something different to do on the cup shelves in the dining room.
Yeah.
Just because that's people don't get close to it, so I don't worry about it very much.
Right.
Because they're up here, but those are getting kind of sad. So maybe we need to buy some little trees and redecorate them for the dining room.
Okay.
Something like that. So keep your eyes open.
Yes, I was gonna say.
Right.
And
what's out
especially for sales, you know, I think, I'm trying to think I think I probably need to replace the tree in the library because we've had a lot of trouble with the lights. And I usually do that around Black Friday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get tired of trying to fix it, so I think we'll probably get a new tree for the library. They went right back out. So, we'll probably get a new tree for the library. I think that's the one we're having trouble with.
I just think if forewarned is forearmed, if we have an idea and we can see something, then we could.
Perfect,
Cool.
perfect.
All right, moving right along to the board recruitment.
All right, board recruitment starting the 4th of October, and it's gonna run through the 12th of November, I think at 5 p.m. end of day. Karen and Candy are expiring this year, but you're both eligible for a second term.
I already sent my application in.
All right, well, there you go. All right, so then we should be full up. I mean, we might get some other applications, but I don't really wanna go out and recruit.
Okay.
So, but I just wanted to make sure everybody knew the deadline's coming.
Okay.
So,
I know in the past, we've had where, depending on who wins the mayor's race, the mayor's wife has always been included, or spouse, like it should be spouse.
Yes.
Is that going to be something that's going to be thought of too?
well, they're not on the board. They're just
Not a voting member.
yeah, they're not a voting member. So, but if Tim does win the race, then we'll reach out to his wife.
Jackie.
Is that her name? Jane.
Jane.
Our neighbors, 2 doors down.
So I just thought I'd just ask her.
Okay.
And she's very involved with the firehouse arts. And
Oh, yeah.
I used to live in Janie's house, Janie and Jim's house.
Really?
That was my house. My kids were raised there.
Oh, I didn't know
That's
that.
cool.
Yeah, just to fill you in a little bit, Kristen Kennard, we reached out to Kristen, she was here for a year and she went, this is ridiculous, I wanna vote.
Yes.
So she actually applied for the board and was on the board for 6 years. And, Brian's wife declined, we had her to tea, and she declined, said she was too busy, but we'll reach out to Jeannie.
Okay.
If he wins the race, of course.
I just thought, and it doesn't, and honestly, I'm just not sure how this quite would work, but we should consider that it doesn't matter what gender they are.
Exactly. You're absolutely right, you're right.
We just
We reach out to them.
whoever the
Yeah,
spouse is.
it doesn't matter.
And we just.
Yeah.
The one Leona was, I'm sure that her husband did.
Yeah, Bernie would come through, yeah.
Bernie, I know, but,
Yeah.
but still, as a precedent, I think we should just kind of
Say spouse.
move forward in the way, so. All right, that actually kind of fell under other business, but did you have other business?
I do have a little bit.
Oh,
I did put together a QR code.
Oh my gosh, Kathy, I'm so excited.
That is nice.
with the little logo in the middle.
I thought you were gonna have time to do this.
I squeezed it in. Right now, it goes to the website, to the main page on the website, and it would get counted with the website statistics. It's not gonna come in any different than somebody who clicks on the link for the house. But what I don't know how to do is, I don't know how to display them. I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. We did hang a couple of signs on the outside of the house for the mask signs.
Yes.
And I think I can take down the one now on the south door and put this so it would be under the porch and protected. But I am really looking for suggestions on how to display it or where to display it or.
Well, our whole goal, or at least one of the things that I'm hoping for, is that we can not just have it counted with the website, but eventually that we could count it separately.
Yeah.
So we have the counts and accurate counts, and also have it listed that if you want to do a monetary donation at the time, if you're using our gardens and you're coming in and taking pictures, would you like to donate monetarily to the Callahan House?
Does the city do that?
Yeah, there's a way on our WebTrack website to have a pass-through link, which is the same thing that this essentially is a pass-through link. They could go directly to a donation thing that someone could do as a guest. And then.
That's what I was thinking through RevTrack, that we could keep count of it that way, and then.
Well, they can make a donation that way.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying, and I'm hoping that we can get a donation for using the gardens. I know, I have used the gardens. I've been here, I'm taking pictures and use the gardens. I would have made a donation. I would have, just because it was just a great experience where they were, okay, would you donate a monetary amount of whatever? And I just think it's a good way for us to keep track. I also like to be able to keep track of numbers, because it helps in our grant writing and everything else. If we know it's 6 people or 8 people or 4 people or even 2 that have come into gardens, that's another count that we are missing. Thank you for doing this. I'm
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
excited
It really is.
about this.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is
just
wonderful.
one of those things that.
And you made it pretty with the thing.
Yeah,
I made it
That's
huge.
really nice.
So here's the
I like
question, what if it said, if you'd like to make a contribution to the preservation of the Callahan House, if there was just another little QR code, which went to the RecTrack link?
Well, or you
Oh,
could
yeah.
use
That
the
is
link
will take you
on
to
the
the link.
website that they're supposed to. You know.
They would have to look though, because if they're on a mobile device, it has all those sub-menus and,
It just, it was like
yeah.
We could go
Yeah.
backwards, we could send this to RevTrack, and in the description of RevTrack, they could click and go to Callahan.
That would be good.
So it could be an order, it could be an order, like donation here, learn more about Callahan House.
That would be amazing.
So, and I can work with Cassie on that for a photo to go with it, and we can get that set up with the revenue account that it would go into.
Oh,
Okay.
see,
We have a revenue account for donations. We have a revenue account for donations, it's just not set up in RecTrack.
Yes.
I think
Somehow it needs to be mentioned that people can make monetary donations in memory of someone.
Oh, that's good
Because
too.
people don't always think of that.
But how do we honor that?
Yeah.
Because
You don't
honestly,
have a plaque or.
no, and we don't want to.
You don't?
No. It's like, I do this all the time with the historical society. I send a check, this is in memory of so-and-so and so-and-so. They send a little note card that says, thank you. Thank you, a donation has been made in memory of your loved one.
That's a cool idea.
And then we don't have to, and see, I think that's a brilliant idea, because not everybody wants flowers, but they would sure like to have a donation in memory of a loved one.
Yeah, that's what I've gone to doing everything I do.
That's,
Anybody who passes away that's connected with history or Longmont or whatever, I think it's pretty cool. Historical society. No, I'll send it.
You'll probably switch back and forth. I know you, you've got divided
Yes, she
loyalties.
does.
Okay,
all those are brilliant ideas.
well, and there, you can pay money to track statistics from a QR code, but I don't know how expensive it is. And I also don't know, I haven't reached out to Susan to see if there's any
I thought
city-approved.
we could hook on with the city somehow. Isn't there some way that you guys keep track of how many people attend, the, pardon my brain, it's, that you do the, Rhythm on the River and other things like that. Isn't there ways that you do counts that we aren't thinking of?
There's no slick way to do counts, even in the trade show business, it's very hard.
And some of the availability to grasp those metrics that you're looking for, the marketing group within the city and within community services is doing some reformatting, reorganizing, coming up with a master plan within themselves for the next 5 years, hoping to add a few more bodies and a little bit more resources to the table. And those things would fall under that piece, as we're moving down. So there is a desire to add more geofencing or some other more technical ways to count or to pop up surveys or to say, hey, you're here at the gardens, would you like to make a donation? Those things are coming, but they're on the year 5 wish list.
Year 5.
They're not here right now because so we can maximize what we have, put forward, future goals, and maybe that would align with other departments who are having similar things so that they can jump up on the.
Beautiful. I think that's great, and just knowing that it's on the pipeline, that's fabulous.
Is there anything now that counts how many people opened this?
Yes.
It
The
will
website.
count, it would say, I think if I understood Kathy correctly, it wouldn't say if it came from the QR code or whatever, but you would be able to see comparison from month to, last year to this year. If all of a sudden you had this huge jump and if we got
You could assume
donations, yes.
So there's ways that we can.
It wouldn't count how many people unless they all got out their phones and clicked on it, which of course, the other thing we could do when the room, except it's not a room by room tour guide, but if we could put up a truncated version or something and link them to the document, and that might encourage more people to click.
That's another thing that I was thinking, because if I'm a nosy person, I am. I'm just gonna
You're curious.
I'm curious.
Yes.
I like to go wherever I'm visiting, it doesn't matter, and I always check out the historic homes and the history in the area. I find it fascinating. And I will be the person that we click on this and want to say, oh, too bad we can't get in the house. It's sure nice to be able to take a tour and look and have an idea from looking on the outside and look at, this is the type of things that I find interesting. And then I'm also more inclined to donate to, because, okay, if I'm spending time here and I've looked at it and I find it exciting, I'm gonna give you the money. And I think that that's really important. And like I said, it may not be a huge amount, but it's still money that we're not getting in otherwise. And we're not, if we could just have the connection, that's the big thing. So is there a way that we can do that? Just set it up to so we can click and then click to the pictures and do it a short tour?
I don't know, I'm gonna have to think about it.
Well, my understanding is that the website that it goes to, you have the tour on the city website.
Well, we have the documentary.
The documentary.
The document.
So, I mean, I think a lot of what you're looking for is
Is
Available.
is there right now.
is it easy or is it very?
No, it's easy.
Well, it has its own,
That's what it looks like that.
it's not mobile devices, it's not very friendly.
It's much easier on the computer.
Callahan House about the property.
So it's got the software.
Board, just contact staff,
About
residential,
property, the board, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Callahan House photos.
And if you go to the Callahan House about the property, the first thing is the documentary.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah, there's.
And then right below that is information about the family, the house, the business, the house features, the garden, the auto house, pictures of the Callahans.
So
And we could go to that page instead of going to the main page, but then they would have to navigate backwards to get to other stuff. So I wasn't real sure where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
Because we
That is
also have to
available,
think about people who want to book the house.
Right.
We have a business here that's as important as the history.
Right.
So, where do we want to go?
Oh, I think that's, but I like the idea of going to Rec Pack first and then looking into if we can do the donation aspect. I just, I'm all about.
Do we have statistics on Rec Track? Okay.
That would be good.
I'm a little afraid that people will see us trying to get money from them before they get information and then stop instead of getting the information and then saying, oh, I'd really like to donate.
Well, could we add to the page?
The donation button, I think that might be a better way to go.
Couldn't we
Yeah,
just do a
I like that
donation
better,
button on the main page?
Do you want it on the main page or the history page? I guess we could put it everywhere, right?
Excuse me.
I mean, once you create the button, it can go,
The button would be great, yeah.
yeah.
Right. My goodness.
And maybe you have different QR codes at different parts of the, if you find a way that you appreciate how they're displayed, the QR codes,
Yes.
if they're, you don't have to have the same QR code in every area. Like if you think that over there, they'd be taking pictures for purposes, thank you for enjoying our garden, just for making a donation, QR code. That could be, go somewhere different than the ones around the house where people are enjoying their passion. About looking at historical
Signage is
houses.
very expensive though, so we have to think through.
Right.
Yeah, signage is very expensive, especially if it's gonna endure weather.
Anyway, we start with baby steps, look at that piece rolling and see.
This is great. I'm just so excited.
Yeah, I mentioned last month when we were here about this auto, website that I had bumped into at another museum things. It's called AutoCast, O-T-O Cast. And they've got regarding tours, museum things, that you can go visit. And I just downloaded the app and then wherever I am, you can check auto and see if there's any tours available from other museums.
What's that called?
It's called, AutoCast. OTOCAST. And, I just, opened that up, but it just comes up with it knows where my location is right now, so it's saying Highlands Ranch Art Encounters and Foxborough Art Encounters, so they've got in Parker, they've got lots of different things going on. And, even the art walk, that stuff, downtown Forest Springs. And then it reaches further out to Nebraska and stuff, but
So there's nothing locally,
nothing
because if it was, it would be
on,
pulling it up.
right, it would be pulling it up for Longmont. So really, it's mostly Southern Colorado, right now, as far as participants, but anyway, but I did go tour, some places in different places, and then the museum that I got the ad from, they had a wonderful room by room tour of their little history museum and you know, how to get there and all that kind of thing. So it's just really nicely done. I had no idea what it cost or, you know, operations or anything, so anyway, that'd be good for the city to get it.
Well, thank you very much. That is amazing other business. So, all right, moving on, do we have any other business to discuss?
I just have one comment. I'm gonna start sending out a note about a week before the board meeting for agenda items. So if you have anything, would you just get them back to me, and if I don't hear anything, I'm just gonna move on.
Okay.
So,
I do appreciate the posting, so I can peruse it and then not taking up a tremendous time of writing. If I'm having issues, it just gives me a chance to read it slower and do what I need to.
well, it was like, you know, yesterday afternoon soon enough for you? I'm trying to get them done earlier, but it's difficult. The munis stuff doesn't tighten up until, you know, the end of the first week of the month. So the financial stuff is hard to do any earlier than that.
Sure. I thought it was helpful because I just read it last night, I skimmed over it, I didn't even print it out. So
Yeah, and I saved paper and was able to peruse it, and earlier is better than later in the evening, but you know, if we can get it in the afternoon, that would be great, and then that way I can just, it gives me a better opportunity to. Cool.
I will keep trying to get them out by mid-afternoon the day before the meeting. Sooner if I can. The weeks where the second Wednesday is early in the month, it's harder. Because the financial stuff just doesn't tighten up.
I get it.
It moves, it even moved, I did almost all of it before I went on vacation, and then it was all deserted, so I had to redo it. Yeah. It's like, you're right.
And you thought you were ahead.
Yeah.
Get it. Okay. So, on the future agenda items, does anybody else have any comments to add?
Yeah, can we go ahead and add them actually on here? I should have probably emailed you, so can you just add those back on there? So that we keep them on there as, it's on our radar.
Okay.
Like, so we can put,
The house manager pictures.
house manager pictures and scrapbook. We can include, that, planting of the bed around the permanent sign will, occur in May of 2022. And we can even list it, for the annual present and past board members tea. It's, scheduled for May 1st of 2022. Planning for that will begin in February. I mean, those are things that, it just kind of puts it out there on our radar that it's like, yep, that's coming. And, oh, let's get to that. You know, we have some time now to focus on that. That's great. So let's actually keep that as our.
That's very helpful, thank you.
In the minutes, we talked about earlier, that's probably a future meeting agenda item, how they should be written.
How do we incorporate the house manager's report in the minutes without?
I've got it in my list.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it needs to be on the
It's an
future,
easy
but
solve.
I've got it in my
Paragraph.
notes, so I'll cycle back.
But I'll email this to y'all, just say that you all have this. It would make for such a nice, easy, clean incorporation of your report without having the full interpretation of it in the minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, do we have an update on the e-brochure? I mean, aside from, I know that we have, that you're getting the pricing on it.
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't hear any of it. On the what?
The pink brochure.
The history brochure?
Yes, so it's gonna be printed as we put it together, right? Karen and
I was
Connie
gonna call you back about the car.
Karen and Connie and I continue to do research. We cannot find confirmation that.
I found it. I'll send you the link.
On the phone.
For the
Oh,
car went in
reverse
reverse,
issue,
it was
yes.
reverse
I
gear.
know, I did all that research too.
Karen looked at too, and
Yeah,
it's like, no, there's
Got onto
no
the-
confirmation of
I
a
found
process an earlier model.
So I will, I'll send it to you.
I didn't bring that stuff with me.
I found it.
That was one.
It said they used the reverse gear to slow it down or something. So I'll find it.
That's what you're taught never to do.
Well, but they didn't have cards. I forget exactly what it said, but I did find,
reverse.
yeah.
With respect to the car or respect to the Callahans?
No, with respect to the car.
Yeah, yeah. It was new invention. There was
So
only
it's
one.
new
Yeah.
invention, you threw it into reverse.
I forget
To
exactly what it
slow
was.
it down.
They were using it to do something related to driving it.
Oh,
All right, are we done?
okay, so we're adjourned, all right.